Hello, and welcome to Story Power, a bi monthly podcast I created because I'm an unabashed story lover. Stories have had a huge impact on my life, starting with the family movie night discussions my parents instituted when I was a child. I want to share that love with you. As cognitive scientist Roger C. Shanks says, humans are not ideally set up to understand logic. They are ideally set up to understand stories. I'm making it my mission to not only spread the love of stories, but all the valuable things they teach us about human nature and relationships. We humans are emotional creatures, and stories help us examine our emotions from a comfortable distance. They also help us walk in the shoes of the characters to help us see the world in new ways. It's my hope you gain some valuable insights from my guests. Hello, Story Power listeners. Today I am talking to Neil Laird. This is episode 151, and I'm very excited to talk to you, Neil, because I've probably watched the shows that you have produced and directed. I loved your book. It was like, oh, what's next? What's next? So it's really fun. And I think that was your book. Primetime Travelers is the first one, right? Yeah.
Correct.
And then you have Primetime Pompeii. Is that the only two that you have so far?
No, and then in a couple months, Primetime Troy will come out. I'm prepping that for release probably in maybe June of 26.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay.
go back to the Trojan War
Yeah.
and meddle with Achilles.
Oh man, that's going to be fun because I've read a book by Judith Starkston, I think her name is, and she is a classically educated woman, and she loves that whole time period of Troy, and she's also written about the Hittite Empire, and
You're
so
in this book, so I love me some Hittites.
yeah, so it's been really fun reading your book too on top of her books. So yeah, she wrote a whole book about Achilles and Briseis, which I enjoyed so much. So I've probably watched some of your show. Can you tell some of the shows that you have produced?
I mean, I've done a lot of them. For those who don't know my bio, I'm a TV producer, documentary. So I've worked in the last 30 years for pretty much all the players, National Geographic, BBC, Channel 4, PBS. I had a long-term contract at Discovery Channel and Science Channel for years, History Channel. I've been working on programs, mostly in the archaeology, history, adventure space.
Yeah.
I ran Shark Week for several years at Discovery Channel, so I
Oh,
was sort of known for that. Big shows like Mysteries of the Abandoned, Through the Wormhole with Morgan Freeman, What on Earth had a long run. God, I don't know what other ones are there. You go to my IMDb page, like 150 things pop up.
I'll have to look it up because I'm sure we've seen something that you've worked on because we kind of like those archaeological ones a
Mhm.
lot. And we watched one just a couple of weeks ago on PBS about Gobeli Tepe,
Oh yeah,
Gobeli Tepe,
Quebec Lake.
that
Yeah,
that they are still, of course, they're still
yeah.
excavating. And then we saw another one, and that might have been on PBS too, about the continuing excavations at Pompeii. So yeah,
One of my favorite places in the world, Pompeii.
oh yeah, we didn't go to Italy either. I wish we had. But
Uh,
Greece was the one that I wanted to, because I'm a theater person. You said my background's in theater.
no, a lot
And
of it came from there.
yeah, and I did not get to go, unfortunately, up to Epidavros. I wanted to, but Papa Andreev died while we were there, just as we were going to go up to Epidavros, and the whole country shut down, and so we didn't get to go up there. Oh well, one day, because I wanted to have, Barry stay up at the top and me stand down in the orchestra and just whisper and see if he could
Whisper
really
and
hear me.
hear. Not the only place you can do that. I was like, oh, I was in Greece. I was in Athens to finish Troy, and there's a small theater just outside of Athens. And I was sitting there just reading a book, and I could hear people whispering at the other end. It's like, wow, these things still work 3,000 years ago.
Yes.
All over the Greco-Roman world, you can find amazing ruins like that.
I know. Amazing architecture.
Hmm.
Yes, yes. So let's get to talking about your book. The first
Okay.
one that I read, which is uh Primetime Travelers. And I'm hoping that Jared, well, I know Jared's in the second one, but I'm hoping that the rest of his crew is also with him in the books. And are we going to meet any new people? I wanted to know about that.
Well,
But
yes. Well, yeah, of course. In every book, there's new people that come, and there's a four. Then for those who haven't read it, there's four key characters, and the book really comes out of blending my two loves of ancient history and archaeology with my day job, making these films, going to the world around the world and seeing them. So the composite of the four characters are very much people that I've worked with. The names, of course, are changed, and they're blended of four or five people. But there's Jared, who's a young producer who has to kind of take on the responsibility and rise to the occasion. His best friend Kara, camera woman from the Bronx, who was kind of the tough as nails, but his best friend. Ali, the Egyptian sound guy, and Derek Dees, the rather dim-witted host with the Indiana Jones hat, who. And all of them in every book, and everyone gets a chance to shine. Like in this book, in the first book, very much Jared's book. In the second one, Kara falls in love with somebody in Pompeii. And will she
oh,
save her from her fate, or was she not met with time? So the
oh,
idea is, do you let somebody die who you know has to die, or do
yeah.
you fiddle with fate? And the third one, Derek gets a chance to shine in Troy, in ancient Troy. So all of
Oh,
them get a chance to step forward and kind of fall in love and either be brave or be cowards or whatever. And then new people come in every book. There's new
yeah,
characters.
that's cool.
Some of whom make it, some of who don't.
Yeah, and I really like that. I like that the way in the first book, Derek decided to go back to a certain time period that he loved. And then they find evidence that, oh, he made it. He and Jared and Kara find evidence. Oh, he made it. Yeah, so I kind of liked that uh Jared is one of those people who is kind of he doesn't believe in himself, let's say it that way. But I could relate to that because it took me a while to get there to where he finally gets. But I also love the whole idea of the keeping the Egyptian pharaohs and really important people in those time periods alive in a way. And I was wondering, I was trying to look up, is how do you say his name? Mehi?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to look him up to see if was he really Seti's son, but I couldn't find it didn't list the children who didn't survive
Right.
in the thing that I was looking at.
And
That didn't survive
for the
Seti.
non-readers, Mehi is a key character in the book, and he's Ramsay the Great, who ruled for 66 years and sired over 100 children. Many died. He outlasted many of them. Mehi was a very obscure name that only had one or two mentions, so he's a total fictional account. He was
Yeah.
based loosely on someone who did live, but pretty much everything you read in the book is total fantasy.
Yeah,
The other
okay.
characters around him are real, like Ramsay and Seti and the others, but he himself is really just a
Ta
fictional
do you
creation.
say it Taya? Taya?
Yeah, yeah,
She's not
yeah.
fictional.
No, she's fictional as well. Yeah,
Oh,
she, she
she's fictional.
she's based on, again, back then in ancient. We're talking about the 1100 BC, so 3,000 years ago or so. People didn't write memoirs. They didn't write personal. The little things you can find are etched on a tomb
Right.
wall when
Right.
they're self-aggrandizing about how the pharaoh loved them, or if sometimes you find a papyrus. There's a wonderful place called Deir el-Medina, which I can't remember if it appears in the first book or not, but Deir el-Medina is a place you can go to today, and it's the workers' city. It's one of the few cities in ancient Egypt that still exist. Most cities are gone because they were made of mud brick and they were wiped out. Deir el-Medina was the only city built on the West Bank, where the ancient tombs were, the Valley of the Kings,
Oh,
and was
right.
made out of stone because it was all about the artisans who had to build and create the gold masks and make the
Right.
tombs. So they had very nice houses that survived. And they're also literate because of that, because they were scribes and they were creative. And they have a
Hmm.
wonderful thing archaeologists called the Great Pit, which is basically just a huge hole. Imagine a Staten Island dumping ground. And it was where they chucked all their rubbish. And back then, rubbish was paper. There was no real paper. Papyrus is expensive, so they wrote on potsherds and broken potsherds. They called ostraca,
Uh-huh.
and they would chuck them into the waste bin when they were done. And there you find love letters, you find pornography, little nasty etchings of the king. You find contracts, you find disputes. This donkey is mine, not yours. And then when they're done with them, they chuck them. So there's this wonderful compendium of everyday life that barely exists. And I mention that because the Tias and the Mehis, unless they end up in the great pit or they write some self-aggranding thing on the wall that may or may not be true, they disappear from history. We only
Yeah.
have names.
Yeah, I see. Yeah. Well, I thought that that might be the case because I mean, SETI, how many children did he have?
They all cranked him out, yeah. And then and in like a typical Game of Thrones fashion, they let the kids duke it out for who succeeds them.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So what was the name of that city again? That the
Here, El Medina is the city.
Deiro Medina. So, as you can tell, I read a lot of stuff about the ancient world, and watch it. And the red tent, um, oh, what is her name? Not Diana.
Yeah,
She's Jacob's daughter.
in Israel, that one, yeah, right.
She ends up in Egypt. I'm wondering if she becomes a midwife in the red tent, and I'm wondering if she lived in Deiro Medina, but
Probably not. Deir Medina was a very exclusive town just for the artisans. And of course, it was under lock and key because these people knew
oh,
all the secrets. It was a town just for the people who built and furnished the sacred tombs for the pharaohs and the nobles. Everybody else lived on the East Bank, which is the land of
yes.
the living. The West Bank was just for the dead, where the sun set. The East Bank, where modern day Luxor is, back then Thebes, was the teeming masses of where regular people lived. So
Oh,
unless you were an elite artist, you probably weren't even allowed to even visit Deir el-Medina.
yeah. Oh, okay. So she probably lived on the East Bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm sorry. I'm connecting the dots of all the things I've read.
Oh, good. Oh, good. That's the great thing about reading.
Yeah, so do you want to tell a little bit about your book so that people will want to go read it and write a
Sure. Probably should have
review?
started with that, but I'm happy. Yeah, so again, I've been a producer for 30 years, making films in the US and UK about the ancient world. And then I decided I wanted to kind of take those stories and I wanted to make stuff up for the first time rather than do a footnoted National Geographic script where everything had to be proven 6 ways to Sunday. I want to have a bit of fun with the facts. Um, and all three of the books follow a TV crew who find a portal to go to the ancient past, and ostensibly just to win an Emmy. Their goals are not too lofty at first. In fact, the hook, the tagline for all three books are "messing up history, one episode at a time." And that's what they do. So it's very satirical too. I mean, you read the first one, there's a lot of line, and I think in many ways the books get a little more satirical and lighter as they go on. But each one is about them being able to have a special gift to go back in the past with their camera crew and come back with a film, and each one has a chance to prove themselves or not. So it's a great way for me to explore the worlds that I love so much. In this case, Egypt, Rome, and Greece and bring them to life in a fun way, but also have the modern day trappings, the modern day sense of humor. Another key thing I wanted to do, and you see this in the first book, and it definitely is in all three, is I'm a gay filmmaker. So I really wanted to have positive representation of queer people. I didn't want to make it a queer book or a hot and heavy, spicy love story. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in just normalizing queer relationships and queer
Yeah,
characters, and both Jared and Kara are queer, and they both get a chance to fall in love in each book because I realized, I love my Indiana Jones book films, and I've never seen a gay Indiana Jones.
right.
So I wanted to lean into that as well and tell stories that just normalize that, accept that there's love. very well embraced. If you look at the ancient world, in many ways, they're much more open and
Hmm.
forward-thinking about same-sex relationships than they are today.
Yes.
And some key characters, like in the first book, I believe in the first book, the Tomb of the Two Brothers, the people that have the gate to let them in and out, they are
Yes.
based on real people. I was just at Saqqara 2 weeks ago filming a King Tut documentary. And that's an amazing place because they call it the Tomb of the Two Brothers, which is a terrible misnomer given by modern day homophobic archaeologists. But really, what it is most likely the world's first same-sex necropolis tomb. Two
Yeah.
men buried together 4,500 years ago in the foot of the step pyramid. And they're holding hands, they're kissing, they're embracing. It is so lovely and so wonderful. And it just tells you that if these people were allowed to be buried so close to the Pharaoh, the God King, that obviously they were accepted by the people and they were accepted by the society that they could do that, which just shows you that society doesn't always move forward. Sometimes it goes back and forward in circles. And I wanted to bring the idea of ancient history as approach towards sexuality and towards relationships into all the books as well.
Yeah, and there's the whole thing about Achilles and what's
Patroclus.
what's oh yeah, right, yeah.
Right. And that's
Um
very much the hook of the third book.
yeah, yes.
Because they clearly were
So,
lovers. Again, weird thing about primetime Troy, primetime Pompeii is very much based on the facts because it's so well documented by Pliny the Younger, and we know hour by hour how Pompeii erupted in 39 AD. But then when they got to Troy, I really got a chance to have some fun because we don't know if the Trojan War happened at all. It could be all
mhm,
myth. There probably wasn't an Achilles and a Patroclus. There might have been a Trojan War, but it wasn't as Homer wrote about because he was
right,
writing 400 years after, quote
right,
unquote, facts. So,
right.
do you mess up history when it's all myth to begin with? How far can you take and fiddle with time if it wasn't true to begin with? So that's some of the fun issues that I explore in the third book.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of hope it is all myth because I'm so ticked off that they keep blaming Helen for the war when
Yeah,
she
yeah.
got kidnapped. I'm sorry, but
Exactly. Helen's in this, but it's yeah, and I really get a chance to turn everything, including the Trojan horse, upside down and look at it through a very
okay.
different perspective. So it was a fun one to write because I wasn't bound as much to historical facts, I could really push the ideas even further.
Right. Yeah, I love that. I love taking history and turning it on its head or mythology and turning it on
Yeah,
its head. I read a really great book called Lilith.
I
Uh
think I read that. I think I read that.
oh yeah, it's so fantastic. And yeah, I'm really into
Yeah.
books written by women about women, as you can tell. But
And
yeah,
in mythology, as you mentioned already, the key set pieces of were for primetime travelers. The first one is them going through the 12 gates of hell, the Duat, which is all
yes.
mythology. So if you ever go to Egypt and you see all those weird etchings on the tomb walls of Seti or Ramsey, what those are is basically talisman to help them get to the 12 hours of night. So when you're mummified as a king, there's 12 hours a day and 12 hours at night. But the night is when you go in the underworld where there's monsters that want to kill you. And there are 12 gates, the 12 hours that you have to survive. So all
Oh,
these things on the wall help you get there. They're kind of cheat sheets that help you get
right.
through the 12 hours and then rise again with the rising sun. So my crew has to go through the 12 hours to retrieve a missing mummy and survive. And I got a chance to really play with mythology and make stuff up there.
Oh, yeah, that was so fun. I loved it. And I loved the whole journey that finally Jared starts to realize, oh, he's stronger than he thought, and he's smarter than he thought, and he embraces being gay. I love that. Because before he wasn't embracing that.
Yeah.
He was keeping it
No, he was,
quiet.
yeah, I certainly, as a young guy in the closet, certainly went through what Jared did. And this
Oh
is a chance to
yeah.
prove that he is not defined by his sexuality as much a
Right.
leader as anybody. And it was great to be able to tell that story. And of course, he gets stronger in the other subsequent books because he's now out and now he has other issues. So I get a chance to focus on Kara and Derek and Ali and the other books, and they all have
Mhm.
their own issues, not always romantic. But so each one gets a chance to really hopefully shine, which is really fun.
Yeah, I really liked Ali. Ali, always always on the phone with his kids.
Yeah. I know
Except
people
for
like that.
when they were in the past. He couldn't talk to
He
them
was still
anymore.
looking for a phone reception in 1100 BC. How come I can't get any bars?
I love love that. I loved him. And Kara, I really loved that she got to say goodbye to the woman that she was going to marry, who died right before they got married. Because, oh, that was so sweet. It was sweet that you let her do that.
I really
Because,
want, and it was something people love that scene. I don't want to give it away if we read it, but people really seem to be affected by that scene. And I realized early on with Kara, it's interesting. Originally Carrick was more of a supporting player, but people really love Kara. You know, she's the toughest nails black lesbian from the Bronx who gives Jared the sense to be strong and really, you know, she's his biggest supporter. But of course, she has her own grief. And as I wrote, I realized people loved her in early drafts, so I kept making more and more of her. So the whole subplot with her and Lynette, her late girlfriend, was something that came later because I wanted to give her some emotional connection too. And
yeah,
I'm glad you think that scene pays off when she
yeah.
finally met up with her, however briefly, because that was just something that came naturally out of getting to know my characters.
Yeah, I mean, how many characters in books or movies say, or even maybe in real life, I wish I had one more conversation with.
We all say that with our dad, our mom, our lover, our dog, whatever it is.
Yeah,
One more time, and then of
one
course,
more time. Yeah.
yeah, and I kind of do that. And of course, I can play that game because they're in the duat, they're in the underworld,
Right,
you know.
right.
In the
Yeah,
third book, Hades, you know, Achilles appears from the first book from Hades, while
right,
Jared and his boyfriend on a beach in Mykonos. It's
right.
like, but why not?
And they bring the wine.
They do. It's some great Greek wine.
I love that too. Yeah, we all need cheerleaders.
Hmm.
And Kara is Jared's cheerleader.
Yeah.
And
And I
so
wanted a
that
strong, and I wanted to have a very strong female character too. It's important to have a strong female character. And I think in the second book, which if you like Carrie, you should read, she falls in love. And the character she falls in love with is based on a real life person in Pompeii called Julia Felix. We don't know much about Julia
oh,
Felix, but her villa is one of the biggest villas in Pompeii. She was a rich and powerful woman, and as far as we know, single. We don't know if she was straight or gay or whatever, but she was one of the biggest landlords in Pompeii, had a gorgeous villa you can tour, and it becomes the one that kind of helps the crew when they get there to survive Pompeii. So
I
again, the question is,
see.
once Kara falls for Julia Felix, do I save this woman and mess up genealogy and the fabric of time,
All
or do I
right.
cruelly let her die in this awful eruption that's going to happen in 24 hours time because
Yeah.
it's not my sense, it's not my place. You know,
Yes.
the classic time travel conundrum, I suppose.
Oh, really? Like in Star Trek.
Yeah, exactly. And Doctor Who, I mean, I didn't invent it, you know. I'm just riding the wave here.
Right. Now, I think when we saw that thing on, I think it was on PBS, about Pompeii, the continued excavations, I think they mentioned that woman and her villa.
Bet they do. It's very popular.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the key hook to that book, again, thinking like once I realized, well, I want to at least feature one strong queer character in each book. The reason I mean, Pompeii was obviously very visual and cinematic, anyways, but my hook for that book is now that Jared and company can go back in time and tell these stories, they want to focus on unsung queer characters in the past that didn't get they got erased by time.
Right.
And there's this very emotional plaster cast as you walk into Pompeii. And if you know anything about Pompeii, the plaster cast are. So, I mean, when the pyroclastic flow happened so fast that when the ash came down, it literally incinerated the bodies and left a hollowed out impression in their last second where they're graping, trying to run for cover. And when they started pouring in plaster and they pulled them out, they saw people in their last moments. And there's this very touching one that is still on display rather ignobly, I think, in the gift shop as you come in, at what they long called the two maidens. And they thought it was a mother and a daughter. And they're in embrace. One has their head on the other's chest, and they're holding each other tight as they
Oh,
die. And for years, they thought it was a mother and a daughter because that just seemed like the most natural story. But it wasn't until 4 or 5 years ago when they were able to find some DNA, some bone fragments inside the hollowed out, that they discovered a few things. One, they were both males, they were not
oh,
related, and they were both about 30 years old, between
oh.
20 and 30. Doesn't mean they were gay guys that were holding each other, but it does mean that they were not father and son. It does mean on to two maidens. And you ask yourself if this was happening and would you and the shopkeeper hold each other like this or a stranger? You probably knew this person. So I used the basis of Primetime Pompeii for them to go back and find out who these two men were and to give them a name.
Yeah.
And there's a great villa in Pompeii. I won't give away the name now that suggests they could have been them. So I
Mm.
take the facts that I know about my love of ancient history, my documentary years, and I blend it with a romp.
Oh yeah, that's so great. I love it. Now I'm hoping that this is going to be like a 25 volume
Well, you have to
series.
sell first. So all the readers, all the listeners here, please, buy the books. And when Troy comes out, get on there and give me a review if you want. You can always join my newsletter and you get yeah, I don't know when this
Yes.
airs, but advanced reader copies for Troy coming out
Yeah.
soon. And then you give a review and hopefully, an honest review. And if it bubbles up and gets noticed, it breaks through the algorithm on Amazon.
It it airs April 22nd. Can people when will people be able to pre-order the third book?
Yeah, that will be up before. I don't know. I don't have April 22nd. That's not sure. I don't know when it comes out. It'll probably be June because I'm just now got my copy editor notes back, and then I'm formatting and do book design.
But if they follow you on Amazon, they would
Yeah,
get a notification and they could
precisely right.
pre-order.
Exactly.
Okay, good. So
Exactly. And you can
go.
also get even before then get an advanced reader copy, which through my newsletter get a free copy, as long
Oh,
in exchange for a an honest review when it comes out.
yeah,
But
yeah.
if you know anything about, I'm sure you've interviewed a lot of authors who deal with Amazon and Kindle, and it's all about how you get out of the gate. The more
Yes.
reviews you can get in your first 48 hours, the higher you get noticed. Amazon
Yes.
treats it as a quote unquote real book and it bubbles up.
Yes.
And if you don't get
Yes.
those reviews for the first couple of days, it kind of stays in the underworld.
Yeah, which
It
is where
works.
my book is, my first novel.
Happens to most of us. Yeah. Eventually it goes back to the do-what. All books go to the do-what.
That's right. Well, my husband and I are exploring other avenues, not just Amazon, but other places to publish. I'm working on a memoir, but I'm also have the sequel to the first book,
Oh,
The
cool.
Space Between Time, which is one of my she was guest a couple of times on Story Power, but she's a ghost writer and she writes her own books and she writes screenplays and things. And so I asked her to read through it. I'm waiting. She's very, very busy, so I'm waiting for it to come back. And my niece, I asked my niece, who is a great writer. She writes lots of things, but she won't let any of us read what
Oh, she's
she's
one of those people. Yeah. She holds it too tight. I know some of those readers or those writers.
but she wants to be a bone archaeologist person. So she just
Paleontologist.
graduated last year from the University of Washington and she's going off to York next year to start getting her master's degree.
In the
So
UK or York.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have a great program for the bone people. I forgot what there's a technical term, which I don't remember.
Paleontologist. Paleontologist.
Yeah, no, she's an archaeo. No, she wants to people's bones, not.
Well, modern, you mean present day, not like a present
Mm,
doctor, not like
no,
caveman.
no, no, no. She's into the
Oh,
Middle Ages. She wants to analyze middle-aged
gotcha.
bones.
Gotcha.
That's why she's going to York because they have a lot of excavations in England
Cool,
about
cool.
the Middle Ages or more ancient times. That's her thing. Yeah, she's into that. So I bought her the book. We bought her the book for her birthday or for Christmas. The Bright Ages instead of the Dark Ages. It's a really
Right.
great book. So yeah, yes, she's really into that time period, and she's gone on excavations in Spain and in the Philippines. So yeah, she wants to, but she's really into analyzing the bones. Yeah,
Someone
so
has to. God bless her.
yeah, really, yeah. I'm like, oh, I don't think I would want to analyze bones.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
Not
would
my
want
cup
to
of
be,
tea. I want to tell stories about the Middle Ages. I don't want to,
yeah,
actually look at their well, their femur and try to figure out, what kind of diseases killed them.
really, yeah, yeah. But she's into that. So,
Right?
but to each his own.
Exactly.
I'm with you. I think I'd rather write
Yes.
books about certain, yeah, because my book is time travel too, but it's not. It's only back to the 1800s. 1800s to
Yesterday.
yeah, yesterday.
After the fall of Rome, I get bored. It's too recent.
Well, that's one thing, interesting thing about that book, The Bright Ages, because they talk about, oh, it was Rome didn't fall in a day. It's, over a
Low decline,
long,
yeah.
yeah, long period. Yeah, I like that time period too. But Greece, because of my theater background, it was one of the have to go to
Great.
stops.
Greece is a beautiful country too.
Oh, it is. We got off the plane from, let's see, we went to Greece. Oh, it was from Greece we went to India. But we got off the plane and Barry goes, it looks like San Diego.
Ouch, ouch. You gotta dig a little deeper. It'll probably feel different, right?
But we got to go up to Thessaloniki and then because I had a theater contact, somebody who knew somebody up there in Thessaloniki, and he drove us to Aphitos on the peninsula of Cassandra. That was really fun. We took a vacation from our vacation and just spent a few days looking at the beautiful Aegean Sea.
Sounds sublime.
Yes, gorgeous there. Loved it. Loved it. So after Troy, what are you gonna work on?
I do not know. We'll see how Troy does. And if, I mean, theoretically, it could be I could wrap the trilogy up. It has a very emotional ending. One of the characters dies.
Oh
So you have to stick around to find out which character that is. One of the four lead characters does not make it out of Troy. So I could end it there, or I could continue with the fourth book. I don't know. May want to try something different. I've been doing a lot of television again. I'm doing a King Tut documentary, so I've been in Egypt making that.
no.
So I still mix my filmmaking with my novel writing. So I think it would depend on my time and my interest. In 6 or 7
Yeah.
months before I get some.
So you're not retired yet. Oh,
Oh
that's
no,
good.
no, 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 no! I still need some cash. Yeah, Plus, I love it. I just spent 3 weeks in Egypt, climbing through tombs and temples, and went back to Abydos. Where
Right.
the book takes place.
Where Om was?
Oh yeah, and it was interesting. The whole thing. The where the germ of the book came from. Really, originally, I thought I was going to write a fictionalized account of Seti, who was a real woman who died in
Oh,
1981, a British woman who, of course, is in that book.
yeah.
She is very, very much based on, except for her last name change or whatever, very much based on a woman named I forget her last name. I call her Kershaw, but I changed the last name. But a real woman from Britain who lived in Abydos and said that she was reincarnated from Seti, and she knew things about Abydos Temple that no one else did. And people would come and visit her and ask her questions. And so originally I wanted to tell a story about Seti. Then I realized I kind of want to tell about also what I know, which is the film crew. So Seti is only in the first book, but she sets Jared on his journey. She's the one with the keys to the past. But
Right.
she is very much based on a real living person who just died, what, 50 years ago.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's interesting. I'll have to look her up now.
Yeah, you'll find all kind of fascinating things on Seti because she's a head scratcher. It's like, what did she know and what didn't she know? And if you don't believe in reincarnation, she knew some things about Abydos Temple that the Egyptologists didn't know.
Oh,
Leave that to you.
wow. And then they followed it to see if it was true, and then they found out it was.
hmm
Yeah.
Like I think in even the book, she tells Egyptologist or somebody there's something behind that door. And back in the 70s, she told that to an Egyptologist working there, and they found out there was a hidden chamber behind a wall. Even no one knew. So how would you know that if you're 78-year-old British woman from Brixton, London, or wherever she came from? Well, she did.
Well, and also telling the people who helped her from the junk, I can't remember what their title was.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, 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 yeah.
telling them, oh, this army got swallowed up by the sand, and they're over.
That was
I
fun. I love writing that scene because, of course, yeah, she would know things, right? And that's all based too on the junk people. Or they're still very much a society in Cairo who they pick up the junk for you. You don't touch it. It's the junk mafia. That's their job.
Yep, yep. Oh, wow. It's so great. I love it. Now, I did talk to another author who he and his wife lived in Ethiopia for about 5 years and worked there, but they
Mhm.
traveled all over the African continent. And so he met This was back in the 60s. He met a general, which I do not remember the general's name, who lived in Cairo in Egypt, and that guy, they became friends, and so that guy helped them go all over that
Ah,
area
friends in
that
high
you're
places.
writing about. Yeah, it was really cool. It was so it's like, oh, this is linked up somehow with one of my other guests.
Well, you never know who again who you meet. I mean, when you travel too, you meet some crazy people that I've been to 70 some countries, and I keep in touch with a host of people that I never thought, a chickpea farmer in Jordan, or like a clock salesman in like Khartoum. You never know who you're going to keep in touch with, and suddenly they become friends for life. So that's one of the
Right.
great things about travel is keep yourself open to other people and the world, and you may have friends for life that maybe
Yes,
help you open
really.
up.
Yeah, he still has a friend who lives in Ethiopia that he sends money to and helps their family, go to school yeah, yeah, it helps his family. So it's really cool. His name is Barry Mon.
Okay.
Yeah, Barry Mon. And his episode aired not too long ago. So it was like, oh, that's a cool connection there. Although you're not writing about Ethiopia.
Not yet, but it's like you never know. I've been to Ethiopia on a shoot. I did a what I, everyone thinks that the Holy Grail is hidden there. So I did a show for History Channel years. I went looking for the Holy Grail, not the Holy Grail, the Holy Ark, the Ark of the Covenant. But
Right.
spoiler alert, we didn't find it.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. Well, some theory is that the aliens took it away.
Yeah, yeah, the pyramidians we call them. The people who believe they were built by
Yeah.
space aliens, built the pyramids. So they're pyramidians.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But I mean, the whole Ethiopian Jewish
Yeah. The
connection.
diaspora down there, right? From
Yeah.
all of them, yeah. And that's why they think that the Holy Grail, I'm sorry, the whole confused my two relics. The Ark of the Covenant went with them.
Was there. Yeah. Right. I remember a documentary about that. Yeah.
Might have been one of mine.
Well, we've watched lots of them
Yeah.
because I'm just interested in all kinds of historical events, not just the recent historical
Yeah.
events, but yeah. And I don't know why I'm interested in them, but
It's
it's
fun. It's
fun.
fantasy. It sweeps you away. It's dramatic and it takes you to far-flung
Yeah,
locations. And,
right.
a lot of great mysteries that haven't been solved.
That's right. Exactly.
Imagine how
Exactly.
boring the world would be if every mystery had been solved.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
right. Well, I guess that's why we like British mysteries. We watch a lot of
Or
masterpiece
the books
mysteries.
we read, we want to be taken
No.
away somewhere else and solve it. If you weren't there when Pompeii exploded, hopefully, but I can, take you back there and create it for you so we can still,
Right.
live in that mystery and imagine what it
Yeah.
might have been like, and that's
Oh,
part of the joy of,
really?
fiction.
Yes, right. Yeah. And and volcanoes are a little bit I grew up in the Pacific Northwest and there are a whole bunch of volcanoes
Yeah.
there.
Yes, are.
I didn't happen to live there when Mount St. Helens blew up. It was a few months before Barry and I got married, and we got married in Independence, Missouri. But we did move back to when we got finished with college, we moved back to Portland where my family was. And so yeah, some of my family. So yeah, the wow, volcanoes. Another volcano I think erupted yesterday someplace.
Oh, wow. Oh, really? In
Yeah,
Pacific Northwest
I
or
don't think it was in the Pacific. I don't know. It just was like this. Somebody had this camera focused on a mountain and it just catched the eruption, but it didn't say where it was on the video. So I was
That's
like,
kind of good in a way. You don't give you well. Hopefully, the people who are nearby already know and they've already gone out. When I was writing Pompeii, one thing I love to do, I do that all three of my books, is I go to the source. I rented a villa along the Nile for several months when I wrote Travelers. I rented a beautiful place near Pompeii, near Sorrento, for several months when I wrote Pompeii. And when I was there, Vesuvius and particularly volcano, underwater volcano near Naples across the bay was extremely active. And they were about to evacuate people. So I was watching the earthquake and volcano news every day from Naples across the bay to see if I had to
yeah,
pack up and leave. But people are so used to it, they just went about their day. And you've been to Naples, there's several million people living on top of an active volcano, and they just that's the Faustian bargain they make for beautiful water and warm
Yeah,
temperatures and great soil to grow your grapes.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
never know.
Well, and we do have at least some measure of warning systems
You
now.
do. I mean, yeah, I mean, it could still blow unexpectedly. Yeah, unlike, in 79 AD, people can get out now, which is why I was getting all these reports. But of course, what you don't know is if one of these cauldrons just opens up at the last minute and starts spewing lava, or whatever. You
Yeah.
can't. It can tell you when things are rumbling a little more active and give you pause, but it's not going to tell you if it stays dormant, remains dormant, or if it's going to blow its top. You won't know that
Right.
until it's 2 miles in the
Yes.
sky above you, which is
Right.
what
Yeah.
happened in Pompeii.
Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah. Oof.
But that's a dark topic. We can move on.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is a dark topic, but I mean, we learn so much because of the excavations
Yeah,
and so it's like those people didn't really die in vain because we're learning about their culture and
precisely right. Yeah, I
yeah.
mean that's a time capsule. I mean Pompeii, particularly because it was covered so quickly and so completely and wasn't found until the 1800s, that it's beautifully preserved, more than a town like in Egypt where they're mud brick and they erode over the millennia. And so Pompeii is a gift into the ancient Roman world. We know more about, when you watch a movie about ancient, if you watch a Gladiator 2, or one of these movies that recreates it, almost everything you see in the background is based on Pompeii, because that is the most complete city from the ancient Roman world. Now,
Right.
conversely, I wrote the third book in Turkey, but I didn't stay near the Trojan ruins because they're a mess. They're just a bunch of sad anthills that are eroded to nothing. They're, as ruins, are extremely disappointing. There's much more gorgeous Greco-Roman ruins in south of Turkey than Troy, where it's based. So that's
Yeah.
one that where time did catch up and destroy it, and it takes a lot of imagination to bring ancient Troy back to life. It just looks like
Yeah.
a bunch of grassy hills.
Yeah. Well, isn't Gobeli Tepe in
That's Turkey. That's way east
Turkey?
Turkey. Yes, way east.
Oh yeah,
On your right
okay. Oh
towards the
right,
Iranian
because
country.
Troy is on the
Troy's on the Aegean. It's right
right.
across the Aegean from Greece. So it's
Right.
it's like right there on the edge. You can see like the Greek islands of is it Lesbos or Limnos and Samothraki right from the road Troy. So it's right there on the coast. So it's that close to
Wow,
Greece,
yeah. Yeah.
which is why people think like it took Odysseus 10 years to get home. That's like going from like, Jersey to New York. It shouldn't take that long. He
I
really
know.
got lost.
Yeah. You really did. Really?
He took a
Well,
wrong turn somewhere
oh,
in Delaware.
well, that's what happens to you when you anger the gods, you
The
know.
gods had something to do with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Which
Okay.
is
Well,
always one of the things that irritates me about Greek liter Greek
the gods are
plays.
always freaking meddling,
Yeah,
as they
because
do in my book too. There's a lot of meddling in my book.
oh great. Wow. Oh my goodness. Do you have anything you want to say before we go?
I don't think so. I mean, hopefully, if people are interested again, check out the first book. The third book will come out in the summer, and you know, when does this air? Do you know? When would you put it? When would you
April
put the stuff?
20,
Oh,
April
oh, that's what. Okay,
22nd.
that'll be before
That's
the book.
when
So
this episode's, yeah, so they can go get one and
exactly.
two,
If
write
you join the
reviews.
newsletter, yeah, if you want to join the newsletter, neillaird.com, if you want to sign up for the advanced reader copy for free, all you got to do is, if you like it, leave a review. If you hate
Yeah.
it, don't. And then the third one comes out. It comes out. I might have it released around the same time that the big budget Chris Nolan film on the Odyssey comes out, because
All
people will be
right.
talking about that world again. So I might dovetail those 2 days. So I don't have a release date for Troy yet, but sometime in midsummer.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in seeing that new version.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a woman I found, I've saved the book someplace, who writes about the Odysseus and the whole Troy thing from more of a woman's point of view.
Oh, there's been a lot of those books, yeah.
So that's going to be interesting
Silence
to
of the
read.
Girls is one, of course. Was it called Song of Achilles? There's been a lot about the female version of that.
And
And
seriously,
Odysseus is very much in this novel too. And it's funny, it's like, playing with things too is I haven't seen the Odyssey movie, but of course a lot of people know the Troy movie, the Brad Pitt movie. And so a lot of the jokes are saying this is not like the Brad Pitt movie at all. And but I also realized when I was writing the characters, sometimes I was seeing the actors playing them. So particularly with King Prime, who is he's the king of Troy.
Troy.
The film, he's played by Peter O'Toole, one of my favorite actors, who was
Uh-huh.
also a notorious drunk. So I realized when I
Right.
was writing my King Prime is, oh, I'm actually writing for Peter O'Toole here. Everything he's saying, Peter O'Toole could have said. But that's the joy of fiction, right? Why not?
All right. Do you have Cassandra in there?
No, only briefly. Helen's in there, but she's a small character. But
Yeah.
Breas is very big part of it. As
Yeah.
is. It's focused more on the Greek side, but of
Yeah.
course, Kara wants to meet Helen of Troy, the most famous woman ever, and she's disappointed, let's say.
Yeah. Well, I loved that you had that Ramses was really short.
Right, all the short jokes, exactly.
That was so funny. The way Kara really just sort of played mind games with him.
I love
Oh,
Kara. She's my favorite character too. I know
yeah.
Kara, they're definitely based on friends of mine.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Neil. Thank you so much. And I say again, if you read Neil's books, go write a review because even on Amazon, even if it's a bad review, it helps the algorithms.
It gets noticed, yeah. I mean, I always say 1-star review. Maybe keep it to yourself, but I don't want anyone to lie too. But yeah, but absolutely, the reviews all help, and books get lost; they don't get the reviews. And I could particularly use it for the second book. The first book got a lot more reviews, but people, tend not to come back the second time. It takes 5 minutes if you like it, but it helps all the independent authors out so much by having that visibility.
Yeah, and all you have to say is this is a really great book and I recommend it. That's all you have to
Takes you
say.
3 minutes if you, yeah, if you, yeah.
Yeah, or
So please
right.
do,
That's
yeah.
all you have to. Yeah, right. Yeah. So, thank you so much for being my
No,
guest.
no, thank you for having me. It's been a joy. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for reading it.
Yes, and now I have to go. Now, if I don't have to read for my next the next person that I'm recording an episode for, I can read the second book.
The page turner, I'm told, it's shorter and it goes by very fast because it's like, well, the first one is very much kind of based on almost like a Indiana Jones adventure. Whereas the second one is, I'm leaning very deeply into my love of disaster movies as a kid, the
Oh,
Poseidon adventure and
oh,
that. 'Cause
right.
once
The
the
tower.
action starts, it's nonstop action.
Yeah,
Will
the
they get out of
tower.
Dodge before they die?
You're
So
right. Yeah, I remember all those. Airplane, the
all that crap, all that
airport,
stuff.
airport.
I'm a 70s kid too, so I remember that stuff.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well,
Oh,
it's been a great pleasure. Thank you. Thank you,
thank
Lucinda.
you.
Wonderful.
Bye-bye.
All right. Cheers.
I hope you not only enjoyed this episode but gained something valuable to take away with you. If you like what you heard, please share it with your friends and give us a rating and or review. If you're a story lover too, I invite you to join my Patreon community at patreon.com/storypower, all one word. Or you might be interested in classic cinema with the Sage Sisters, a YouTube channel and Facebook page I started with my sister Celeste, where we choose one classic movie that we think still has lessons for us today. As you can see, I'm passionate about spreading the love of stories and completely believe what Philip Pullman said. After nourishment, shelter, and companionship, stories are the thing we need most in the world. Until next time, this is Lucinda Sage-Midgorden. Thanks for listening.